How many of you here know, as long as you live, your birth date will never change? Talk to me, somebody. But how many of you here know, but your birthday does? And in understanding the timings of God, we have to understand it, because we're not heathens. We don't worship days. So we have to discern God's moments in time. Now, history is the archives of time. And so there are certain things that is in history that God did, that when we lock into the word, we understand that when God did them, they all seem to fall around a feast time. When the walls of Jericho fell, it was during this time frame that we're in right now. It's very interesting, because the Feast of Tabernacles really represents the double portion. It is really the former and the latter together. Now let me give you an idea now of the former and the latter together. How many of you here know that under the former, did God not do signs and wonders and miracles for Israel? Did he not do miracles? Don't you not find it strange that the miracles that God did for Israel was really and truly almost a completely different level to what you really see in the church? I've not read in recent history where God opened the Red Sea. Are you hearing me? I've not read in recent history where walls fell down. Are you hearing me right now? I've not read that. You and I have not heard that. Now, we've heard of the blind seeing. We've heard of the deaf hearing. We've heard of the lame walking. But it's as if that what God did for Israel, when Israel was in order, they were national miracles. In the church, we've seen individual miracles. We've seen some good miracles, some wonderful signs and wonders. But nothing really compares to what God did for Israel. Imagine, he bankrupt a country in a day just for some people to be wealthy. Think about the mindset of God. So when the children of Israel left, not only was there not one feeble one amongst them, but there was not one poor one amongst them too. And God put them in a place where they didn't need to spend any of it. So they were multi-millionaires and billionaires, but they didn't need to spend any of it. The joke of it is, when the Red Sea opened, it was the manifestation of a portal opened, because they had a certain time to get out. How many of you here know when blood was put on the door, the death angel didn't pass? I hate to upset some people's thinking. There was no death angel. The Bible says that God said, I will pass over Egypt. And when he passed over Egypt, they had a split second or a split time to get out. When they got out, I want you to notice, God sent them to go in a direction that almost wouldn't make sense, because Moses would have known that route. He would have known it because he would have known the wilderness, because he was a prince of Egypt. So he went in the direction where he knew the Red Sea was there. But imagine, when he got there, the Red Sea didn't open because Moses had great faith. The Red Sea didn't open because the children of Israel were just wonderful people to be around. The Red Sea opened because they were at the right place at the right time. And when a portal opens, you have to step into it, because if you don't step into it, it might not open again. And some of you are paying the price because you haven't stepped into things that God opened. And when God opened some things, you didn't sow into the portal. So the portal you don't sow into, you can't walk in. So that's why, if you notice with Israel, Israel rejected the kingdom, but understood covenant and understood portals. And so during the feast times, that's when portals are open.